everybody. Welcome to Career Highlights. This particular Thursday, we have Mr. Joshua J. Simon with the Columbus and Franklin County Metro Parks. He's the diversity coordinator and inclusion coordinator. So if you are on with us today, tell us if you are a student by placing a heart emoji in the chat, a parent by placing a smiley face, an educator by placing a thumbs up, or a community partner by placing a gift box in the comments. We definitely want to know who's in the room with us. We see we have several folks on, which is awesome. I'm excited. Hi, Mr. Joshua. How are you?
I'm good. Latoya, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I know our program manager invited you. I'm so excited. Mr. Anthony Murphy did. So we are so excited to have you. I don't see any comments coming in just yet, but we'll give them a few minutes to do that. In the interim, we'll just do a quick temperature check. We just want to make sure you're here, you're alive, you're well. It's a good day. The sun is shining. The snow is melting. How are you dealing with the snow, by the way?
I deal with it. It's just something you got to work with.
Got to work through it? Okay. I was going to ask you that. Like, how you doing with the snow? How's that going? How is that?
When I decided to move to Ohio, I knew I had to deal with cold weather and snow. So I just went on things, put on my coat and my boots and go about my business.
Yeah. I want to make sure to put a little music on while we wait for these folks to come in the room so we know who's here with us. So I guess it doesn't snow much, or does it? How cold does it get where you're from Louisiana, correct?
From Louisiana, it gets cold, but
not like
snow. I think I've experienced maybe snow twice within my life down there, maybe 3 times I would say. And one time we experienced it twice in one season, and it wasn't a whole bunch, but it was snow. So it was always exciting as a kid when we did get it, but now it's just like. Snow is snow. It doesn't really excite me anymore.
So since you've been up here, we got some comments in the chat. Who we got? Chris with us. Oh yeah. Chris said, "My guy Josh, good to see you, bro. Thanks for coming to share with our youth tonight." We've got Miss Brandy, one of our other coaches. So awesome. All right, let us know who's in the room. We need to know. If you're a student, place a heart emoji in the comments. If you're a parent, place a smiley face in the comments. If you're an educator, place a thumbs up, or a community partner by placing a gift box in the comments. We just need to know who's with us. Feel free to ask your questions at any time. We're so excited and honored to have Mr. Joshua with us tonight, and our coaches are on the line too. This is going to be a really dope night, and this is our first career highlight for Black History Month. How about that? That's dope. And we got Mr. Joshua here. He gonna tell us a little bit about. I ain't gonna spoil the educational journey part, but I'm geek like it's just right on time. Yeah. We're not gonna spoil that, but I guess we'll give him a few more minutes. Again, Chris is all excited about you being here. Miss Brandy's one of our coaches here. All right, well, we're going to give y'all a few more minutes, or maybe a second or two. When the song goes off, we're going to just dive right in. Again, if you have questions already, go ahead and start placing them in the comments, and we will definitely get to those particular questions right away once we get to the Q&A section. And we may ask in the intro, and he may answer them as he talks about, and we dive into the conversation tonight. So, all right. Couple Chris said Black History Month. That's what's up.
Yes, it is.
Again, if you're on, make sure that you share the YouTube link with a friend, or text message it, put it out on Facebook, or if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share this live. We greatly appreciate it. All right, well, let's go right on and jump right in. So, tell us a little bit about you. I know we did our temperature check, so tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why
Why am I here, huh?
Why you here?
So, as mentioned, I'm Joshua, the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator for Columbus and Franklin County Metro Parks. Born and raised in a small town called Morganza, Louisiana. And from there, I attended Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, majored in urban forestry and natural resources with a minor in plant and soil science. And after I finished undergraduate, I wanted to go to graduate school at some point, and so I ended up going to Ohio State University to get my master's in environmental social science with a minor in public policy and management. And that led me into my career here at Metro Parks. And here I am trying to do good work here at Metro Parks, and I'm definitely enjoying the journey so far.
So what made you, I guess, go into that line of work? I know you said you went to school for it. Is this something you've always wanted to do as a young man, as a child? What was it?
Yes and no. So growing up in a small rural town, farming and environmental natural resources are always around me. Agriculture was always something I was interested in. I was in 4-H and FFA, and so that always piqued my interest. And now, as you know, you think about going to college, folks always like to highlight engineering or whatnot. So like, oh, maybe engineering is what I want to do. And when it came down to it, I didn't really want to do engineering. And so someone told me about urban forestry, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I looked it up, and it seemed to be pretty cool. And it's basically managing trees and green spaces within the urban environment. And so I did more deep diving into that, and actually found that my university is one of the only program in Louisiana with an urban forestry degree program, and one of the very few in the U.S. to have a full comprehensive urban forestry program. And so I decided to go to Southern University, which is my mom's alma mater, along with her sister. So they really excited for me to go to their alma mater. And so as there, I just became kind of really entrenched in the curriculum and really enjoyed being there, loving the people I met, work I've done. My professors and colleagues always pushed us to go to conferences and internships to really kind of learn and what it is we want to do and figure out new things. And that kind of was my path. I had the opportunity to do a study abroad with one of my professors in China, and had internships in the state of Iowa, and those experiences really helped shape what it is I wanted to do and what it is I didn't want to do. And so I was just forever grateful for those internship experiences, and just my time at Southern University is just an awesome time at one of the greatest HBCUs, I would say. I just want to put that out there. So it was just a great time at Southern, and once then I would come into Ohio State. And before I decided to go to graduate school, I was really thinking about what it is I want to do as a career. I know I want to be urban forestry related, but I also noticed one thing that as I was in 4-H FFA, I was one of only few, or if not the only black people within those spaces. So 4-H was there always, very few, and we all knew each other. And so within that space, I said, this is a space that there should be more of us here. How can we help that? And I was a part of an organization called Manners, which is Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources and Related Sciences, and it's a national organization on maybe I think 60 campuses across the U.S. And their whole goal was to provide a safe space for and help students of color find internships in the agriculture, natural resources, and sciences type field. And I've learned more about that and learned that there was a deficit in how green space is spread around communities in the city and how parks are dispersed in cities. And so I began more into that era and wanted to go into something like natural resource policy. And looking more into it, I ended up finding Ohio State had a program that I kind of was interested in, and kind of had the opportunity to come in, do my research here in Columbus, focused on how minority residents utilize and access urban parks and green spaces. And with that kind of led me into my role here at Metro Parks.
Wow, that's a journey. Can I? I just have a data question since we're here.
Mm.
This is just me. So, have you? What type of data points? And I don't know if the youth care about this, but I'm interested just to know. How are you guys calculating? Like, or is there like a number? Are you able to tell there is a disparity or some type of negligence on where the parks are located as it pertains to the urban community?
So there's a database, and there's quite a few professors who've done some work on this, and just basically look at where parks are located and look at where your population is, and
Okay.
also with urban tree canopy, look at your population where they're located based on income, race, and class, and also look at where the parks are and who has the highest tree canopy coverage. And it's very much this. If you look at that map, it very much show you a map of almost like redlining and income and race within just about any city across the U.S.
Wow. So it mirrors the redlining.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good info. And so that probably is another motivator as to why you do what you do. Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So your educational career, how was your time at at Ohio State, and what did you take away? I know coming from an HBCU and then going to Ohio State, what was that like? Maybe share that with our youth, or tell us about your HBCU experience a little bit more in detail, and
Mhm.
then break down the Ohio State experience for us.
So my HBCU experience was the greatest, I would say. It's just being able to learn from professors who look like you, professors who literally sat in your same seats as an undergraduate, professors who cared about you. If you need anything, you can call them directly. If you need some lunch, they'll take you to lunch if you're looking bad like that. professors actually took an interest in us because they wanted to see us succeed. They knew what it was like as a young professional, a young student trying to learn what it is to do, and they would always make sure we're going to conferences, make sure that our resumes are intact, make sure our suits are fitted, and make sure we're having all the prepared to go forward. And I just enjoyed the experience because you don't just as a young black male. One of my favorite mentors and favorite professors was a black male within my department, and so just being a part of it is like my professor looks like me. This is so great. We have similar stories. We can talk beyond the scholarship we're reading about. We could actually have a real conversation. And so that was one of the things I appreciate, and just being amongst so many great black educators and students from all fields, whether it be journalism, engineering, accounting, um, urban forest, and agriculture, animal science is just a great experience that you really get that anywhere else. And I definitely enjoyed that. And so I knew when I wanted to go to graduate school, when I actually decided I wanted to graduate school, I wanted to do some research. And I know there's always a perk of doing research at a research-oriented institution. And so we've had professors who started off in HBCUs and went on to get their masters or PhDs at research-oriented institutions. And so they've all been around the block and kind of been able to speak to us and tell us how to kind of how to deal with that transition. And we had recent alums who always, come back and connect with us, who went to Auburn, Purdue, and say, if you look and apply, this is things you consider. This is what you should look for in a mentor, an advisor. Here's what you think about your research. And so transition to Ohio State, I was actually one of the only black males in my graduate program. And there were
Wow.
probably a few in the undergraduate program, very few, but which I knew that going in, it was going to be a few of me. And so, with that being said, I had to do my work and learn a lot and just learn how to navigate that space. But I've had it definitely was a good experience. I mean, being the only that was as best, but I definitely knew it. I needed to do what I had to do in order to get my education, and so that was that.
Was that? And then so you landing, was your goal always to go into I know you said your passion was to make sure more folks of African Americans are exposed to this particular industry or field of work, and study. Was it your goal to be diversity inclusion, or did you just kind of stumble into it, fall into it, or?
I stumbled into it as with most opportunities in my life. My goal was just to be able to educate people on the importance of urban forestry and urban tree canopy within the cities, the importance of being able to just have a job in this area. And that wasn't even a goal of mine to recruit folks to kind of work in this industry. It is always just naturally happening because as I was involved in manners as undergraduate, as the vice president or student advisor, I was always running across students like, hey, what's your major? You should come check out our meeting. You should come join us as the Urban Forestry Club president. As I talk to freshmen, you should be at our meetings and just be able to spread the love and spread the knowledge that my mentors have spread to me, just being able to kind of repay that. And so as I kind of moved along, this opportunity kind of presented itself, and I just hopped into it because it's like very much is what I want to do. I can kind of it's new within our organization, so it kind of gives me opportunity to kind of set the stage and do a whole lot of new things and essentially fail forward and figure out what works and what doesn't work for us. And so it's like I can't pass this opportunity. So here I am here at Metro Parks trying to do the work that I've been doing essentially for free for so long. So now I get paid to
Do
talk
what you
about what it is
love.
I do. Now I get paid to recruit people to work in this industry or to spread experiences. And that's what I've enjoyed so far.
So in this particular role, is this a new role at Columbus in Franklin County Metro Parks, or who were you? Was it is it new? I've lived here. I never knew we had one until I saw that you were coming to speak with us. So
It's
that's why I
new.
was
It's
okay.
very new. And so how I've got with that, my advisor when I decided to come to Ohio State had worked with our deputy director Larry Peck, who teaches adjunct in the School of Environmental Natural Resources. And so he was like, yeah, because my research looks at how minority community members utilize and access urban parks and green spaces. And so when they were talking before, I think they were talking before I even started to come to Ohio State. And when I finally got there, my advisor connected me with him, and when she took his class, and we just kind of stayed in touch throughout that. And I took his class, I think in the fall of 2019. And then once time moved on, I said, you know what, let me reach back out over this past summer and kind of foster some communication and see where things are going as I was leaning towards graduation. And with that, he and I talked a little more, and kind of have this position now. And so they were like, maybe a good candidate because your research really ties into what it is that we want to learn more about, what it is we want to do. And so by you having not only the personal experience, but the science behind it and the real life experience behind it, you could really help us out. And so you kind of made this type of this position, and here I am. So.
And I know you already kind of mentioned it, but give us a little bit more on what motivates you in this industry. I know you said you came from a rural area. I know you mentioned just kind of how you were always in those spaces. And then when we get to the end, don't forget to tell us our different things that the youth, if they're interested in this type of work, how they can contact you, what clubs you mentioned 4-H. I know we have one here in Ohio. They're everywhere, so maybe we can share those resources with our community. So you can shoot me an email, and I can put what I can in here tonight, and then we can put something out more formal, and then also get it over to our coaches if they don't already have it. So, but share with us kind of a little bit more about your a little bit more what motivated you to kind of do.
The aha moment motivates me when I tell people how important it is for green space. What I'm telling people how trees play a factor into your mental health or your physical health, and they say, "Really?" And that aha moment gets me every time, and it's like, okay, now I know we're moving in the right direction.
Tell us.
So trees do have a host of benefits, whether it be cooling down your city or cooling down your community. They help prevent erosion, help prevent flooding, purifies the water and the air. And that was just a few of the benefits. And it tells into your mental space, your mental capacity. So there's an area called forest bathing, and they also have the other one's called green pharmacy. So if you're dealing with a mental block or like a little slight bit of anxiety, depression, instead of your doctor prescribing you to go take some medicine, they'll just say, hey, take a trip to a park, go enjoy nature, go get in touch with your senses, go take a walk through a garden and really feel your senses. And it's so soothing. As you know, this past summer, the pandemic, I was actually as an intern here at Metro Parks, their visitation really increased so much because people couldn't go to work, or if you were working, work from home, you couldn't go to school, you couldn't go out to restaurants, so folks were getting to-go boxes or to-go plates and going to the parks, enjoying it with their families. So picnicking has definitely increased, and so being able to say that, you know what, we're tired of being inside today, let's go outside to a park, let's go enjoy nature, let's go walk a trail or hiking, bring the dog, bring the kids, and go have fun. And those moments it's kind of what gets me a bit more, than seeing that people can figure out the parks are here for you. Please utilize them. Your tax dollars pay for this. Please enjoy every bit of these parks, as we are hoping you to learn more from them and just be a part of it, have fun, and just enjoy life in our parks.
Well, I had my aha moment when you mentioned how the doctor would say this and say, instead of prescribing you medicine, I've also heard doctors say, you need to make sure you get fresh air, make sure you go outside, or us that are in cubicles in the office, make sure you go out and take that walk, or make sure you're outside, don't eat inside, don't just stay inside. That's so there's actual science behind it. They're not just saying it to say it.
Because one thing I do now, if I'm eating lunch or if I'm in my office too much, I step outside and I soak up the solar power. And when I was outside stretching one day last week, and they said, because I hope they came down, he was like, "Were you out there dancing?" I was like, "No, I'm just soaking up the sun. The sun just feels good to step out and soak up the sun and boost my mood and go back in and finish what I have to do."
Wow. You guys heard it here first. I'm surprised we don't have any comments yet in the chat, but that is an aha moment, and to realize that, and then to know that you found the research and you did the research to see that there's a disparity in our communities, and know we already battle with other health conditions on top of this that could kind of help us with the other stuff that are, maybe some things are hereditary, like the heart disease and high blood pressure and diabetes, but the fact that we don't have trees, that's crazy.
Because I don't know the exact numbers behind it, but another chronic illness or people who live in predominantly urban areas suffer from is heat exhaustion or heat stroke. So the urban heat island effect is when you don't have a lot of trees around, trees enough to actually absorb the heat. And so trees actually can contribute to lowering the percentage up to 10% of the 10% or 10 degrees in temperature in that area if you have adequate amount of tree canopy in that area.
That makes sense. Wow. You made my day. Well, you did get a video for us to share. I don't see any questions or comments coming in, but I'm definitely ready to share that if you're ready, and we can
Oh, yeah.
dive right into that right now.
Hi, I'm Larry Peck, Deputy Director of Metro Parks. We're right along Olentangy Greenway Trail, which is the busiest trail in the state of Ohio with over 500,000 users a year. Prior to what we were doing with the Olentangy River Project, a trail user would not have any idea that the river was here. This was grown up with honeysuckle, which is a non-native plant, and over the years the honeysuckle's kind of taken over everything.
So basically we just been cutting down honeysuckle, chipping the trees down, because all the honeysuckle build up too big enough for them not to see the river.
So by us removing this invasive species, honeysuckle, it will give trail users a way to actually enjoy and appreciate the area that they're utilizing.
So that's one component of what we're doing. The other part of that is an employment program, and so we thought, well, we could get an employment opportunity for young adults, and hopefully those are going to turn into permanent positions with Metro Parks.
Some successes we have seen so far are my crew actually excited about learning more about Metro Parks, opening up their purview and diversifying their knowledge of life, their knowledge of being in the environment, their knowledge of what's going on here in Columbus, Ohio.
Our belief is that this program is going to grow. We're doing prairie burns, and this week we're going to bring some of the Olentangy River Project folks to some of those prairie burns to help. So we're trying to give them a good feel of what Metro Parks is all about.
Particular parks have a certain project they want to get done, or they're looking to increase the diversity in their staff. They can reach out to me, and I can reach out to my community members and hire them 2 or 3 people and have them kind of work with those 2 park staff, and then at the end of that program they can be hired on full-time as well. And it kind of gives those individuals a more individualized chance to work on things. The biggest impact I've seen it have on the crew members we've hired is them learning more about Metro Parks. They didn't know what goes into actually building a park, what goes into managing a park and maintaining the park. You can work at a place like this. You can bring your family to a place like this. And that's for me is intrinsic value, seeing people who maybe have not been exposed to these opportunities before, then showing them a new outlook on life.
This program taught me a lot about nature. Took me out my comfort zone for real, because I've never been an outside person, and I love the experience.
So a lot of the skills they're learning in the program can be applied beyond here. I'm teaching them workforce development, how to continue out through new projects, but they're also teaching me new things, and that's one thing that we can appreciate.
Young people keep you young. Young people give you hope. Young people give you optimism that tomorrow is going to be a better day than today. And so I can tell you this is the best part of my job. And we really do want to make an impact on the community.
Wow, that is amazing. And you're all in the video, Mr. Joshua. I was like, look at you.
And that's my very first project with Metro Parks. Literally, I started I think my first day was on Monday or Wednesday, and I had the proposal for that project submitted and finished and submitted by like that following week, and we started things up pretty quickly. So I started within a couple of days, and we had that program running within like the first month. So it was intimidating at one point, but it's also nice to really hit the ground running within my career and doing a program like that, actually doing the work. Because everyone talks about, diversity and inclusion, but no one really wants to do the work or put the time in to do that. So being able to actually hop right in and start doing the work and leaning towards and move towards something new was really an experience I enjoyed.
Man, listen, if you guys want to contact Mr. Joshua, his information is on the screen, jjsimon@metroparks.net. While I leave that app, go ahead and share with us 3 things you would leave with our youth as they begin to enter the workforce and develop their career.
One thing I would say, don't take no for an answer. Because in college, I applied for a lot of scholarships, a lot of things, and I always get as many no's I've had yeses. And so in order to keep moving or to keep pushing, you just have to can't take no for an answer. Just keep pushing. There's always a way around it. Another is you have all the resources you need to be successful. You just have to tap into those resources. So anything you're thinking about or trying to do, you may know people or persons doing that within their space. You just have to tap into it and ask for help and really work through it as you're trying to figure out. My final one is hard work beats talent any day of the week. No matter what your test scores say or what folks may say about you, or you may not be the smartest student or the most active student, but your hard work definitely will show beyond your talent. And that's one thing. Those three things I live by all day long: is keep pushing, keep working hard, just showing up, because half the battle is just showing up.
Listen, so you heard it here first. The first one he said is don't take no for an answer. So if you guys are listening, remember that. The second one he mentioned was you have the resources you need to be successful, so use your network. And the third thing he said was hard work beats talent any day of the week. Thank you, Mr. Joshua, for hanging out with us today. We are just so grateful to have you. I don't see any questions in the chat. I think we did good. I know.
Ripping,
yep.
Jaguar.
Definitely. Yep. We see him repping. So again, and we got Miss Alexis. Again, make sure you contact Mr. Joshua if you want to reach out and connect with some of the programs that he may have. Again, thank you for having us. Thank you to our program manager, Mr. Anthony, for inviting you, and Miss Jackie, the CEO and founder for Lead the Way. I'm your host, Toya. Thank you again. If there aren't any questions, I know Miss Alexis gave you a clap. Thank you guys for hanging out with us again. It was cool. Thank you, Mr. Joshua. If you don't have anything else, if you want any closing remarks.
Closing remarks is if you want to give me a call, shoot me an email, just literally take a walk in the park. And I like to have a lot of meetings in the park. Let's walk in the park. Let us see the resources. I mean, we have 19 parks here throughout Central Ohio in seven counties. So we have parks that have rock climbing walls to paddleboarding to buffalo in our park. So it's definitely, we run the gamut of a lot of different things here at Metro Park. So definitely come out, have fun with us, take a look at us, what we have to offer, whether it be for employment or just programming to visit the parks. But definitely please check us out. We'd love to have you all here.
Yep. So we do have a couple more things, just some housekeeping things. We do have next week, we have our career highlight, our college readiness. And I'm going to go ahead and put that up so we can remember exactly our time. So we have Coach Chris and Dr. Kirsten Fox, who will be doing our college readiness. So next week, February 10th at 3:30 p.m., there is a Zoom registration. That information is available on our Facebook page as well as our Instagram. You can also sign up by going to our link tree, which is on the screen at this time. So next Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. you should be in college readiness. It is free. Share with the youth that you know in your community. It is free again, and you don't have to necessarily be a student enrolled with Lead the Way Learning Academy. You can just attend and hang out. I've heard great things. My son has mentioned how awesome it's been, talking about the researching for scholarships and understanding the FAFSA. So great work to Coach Chris and Dr. Kirsten Fox. So just wanted to make sure you guys had the information. Check us out on Linktree. And then next Thursday, the funny thing is, which is a great segue, we had Mr. Joshua with us, but next Thursday we have Judge Stephanie Mingo, who is the Franklin County Environmental Court Judge. So we're just gonna be doing everything environmental for the first 2 weeks, and she's the first African American female, first African American and first female to serve on that particular bench. So again, thanks. Make sure you're here for college readiness next Wednesday and career highlights. It's been amazing, and you guys have a great rest of your day.